This video is how to do the honeycomb effect, or the honeycomb stitch. I'm starting out with the 8 rows of double rib or box stitch that I did in my other video. And you're going to start with your yarn, and you're going to do the opposite of what you did on your previous box stitch. So instead of continuing and going across to this peg, I'm going to go across to the one right directly across from it, and then wrap the one next to it, and across and wrap. And you can see that I'm wrapping the ones like this one here that does not have yarn in between. This one does. So I don't want to do this one. I'm wrapping where there's no yarn. So you just continue wrapping all the way across. You go across, around to the one right next to it, then straight across on the other side, and wrap all the way down. Oops, lost a piece of my yarn there. It's a little bit more difficult sometimes to do it with 2 strands of yarn, but I prefer to do it that way because it makes it much thicker and more cuddly. So now you're going to see, when you look down, you're going to see here's where you did your double rib stitch or box stitch, and then this is your new row, and it's creating where it's closing up this gap that you have right here. And then you want to take your hook, and just like you do on your other rows, pull the bottom loop over the top loop. You want to do that all the way around on both sides. I've finished pulling my stitches over top of each other, and then I'm going to continue doing what would normally be the regular box stitch on top of this. So I'm going to follow the exact same pattern that I did just a second ago, where I'm going to go around, then down, over 2, up, around, over to the next one, down. You want to do this all the way down. And I'm going to do about, since I did 8 for the double rib box stitch, for this I'm going to go ahead and do 8 rows just like this. And again, it's still just the double box stitch, but you're doing it on the opposite direction of the previous 8 rows. So I'm going to continue until I have 8 rows done, and then I will show you what I have. I have now completed 8 rows of the second part of the honeycomb effect. Again, the first part was where you just do your double rib stitch in one direction, and then the second part is that you change the direction of your double rib stitch. And you can see what this is doing is here there was a gap, and now your double rib stitch is above your gap. So it's creating, it's starting to create a honeycomb effect. So now what I'm going to do is I'm going to go back to the original direction that I was doing with my double rib stitch. So again, I'm going to change direction of my yarn. You go across, and then you want to wrap right here where there's no yarn. You've got yarn here and you don't want to trace that. You want to go where there's no yarn. And again, you do your box stitch or your double rib stitch. And then you just continue knitting this way all the way down. And then what you get after several rows, this is a sample that I made where I did 5 rows of each, but you can see that you get, it looks kind of like a honeycomb. So you have your gap, your ribs, and your gap. And this makes for a very stretchy blanket and very soft. So that's how you do the honeycomb effect.